Hey, this is Meredith's husband. I've got some SEO advice for you, but I'm going to keep it really simple so that you can understand it, so it makes sense, and most importantly, so you can actually use it.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I promise.
We're going to be on episode like 533. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Well, that's also because you are starting with us just starting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's the way I like to start.
Okay.
It's the way I do things.
Okay, Mr. Man.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back. That's so nice to have you again. And we look forward to incorporating more of your ideas and needs.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I just realized that's the first time I have referred to it as a show.
It is a show now. It's kind of a show.
I have no idea. Anyway. We're going to talk about SEO.
Okay, excellent. I look forward to it.
We do have this week.
Yes.
Well, first, let me tell you what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
I know that I have talked about links and the importance of links and how you need to get links and how Google relies on links and all this stuff. And I haven't said anything about how you actually build links.
Right.
So we're going to get into a little this week, how you actually start to do that.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I want to talk about. But we do have a question this week.
Yeah, we do have a question. Hang on.
So let's do the question.
Okay.
And then I'll get into my link rant.
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to that.
It's not a rant, actually.
Oh, damn. Can it be a rap?
No, it's definitely not going to be a rap.
All right. So question this week is, I'm questioning the structure of my site in regards to SEO and usability. I have different types of photography I offer, e.g. newborn, family, maternity, each on different pages with portfolio, pricing, and FAQ. It's morphed that way over time, and I'd like a second opinion on whether this structure is simply making things more difficult.
Okay. It's a good question. I'm going to talk about the SEO side of things, and we might do a visual review for usability separately. But for SEO,
review for usability, is that what we did for Carmen?
Exactly.
Okay.
So for usability, you want to make things simple. It's how does a user engage with your website? Okay. How do you make it easy? The SEO is how are you going to get users there in the first place?
Right.
And it's all kind of the same thing, because like I have mentioned before, Google wants to send their users to websites that are good, and then the websites have good usability. So in pleasing Google, you want to make sure you have good usability. So it's all kind of under the SEO umbrella. In terms of day-to-day tasks of what we're doing, we often think about SEO as getting people to the site first in the first place.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the SEO side of that. Yeah, this can become an issue if you have, let's say you're a wedding photographer and you wanted to also sell wedding destination vacation packages.
Okay.
Those are two very different things. Like you're not going to have one website that ranks well for both of those, probably. So the alternative would be to have two different websites. Now, if you're talking about wedding photography and engagement photography and maybe family and children photography, those things are all photography. They're all pretty closely related. So on its own, no, that's not necessarily going to be a problem.
Okay.
Now, if you have, let's say you have say you're a photographer and you technically have 8 different types of. Oh, you are? How you didn't tell me?
Newsflash.
So for you, you have, let's take your site as an example. So you are, what types of photography would you say that you offer?
Kids and family, pets, and event celebrations. I used to want to say childhood because I really love that, but nobody really uses that. Nobody searches. No,
you got to think about how people are searching when you name your products. So
and
in
categories, specialties.
Oh.
When you name your products.
When you name your services, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Back on track. Sorry.
So in that case, you might want to think about the structure of your site, and for SEO purposes, how do these different types of photography fit underneath each other? How are they kind of nested?
Right.
So if you think about your website, think if you were to graph it on a piece of paper, and it's
kind of like a food chain, the food triangle.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I see you doing all the time. There are all these papers everywhere of like food chains.
Yeah, they're not food chains.
Well,
they're
yes. Like family trees.
Exactly. It would look like a family tree, but vertically instead of side to side. I guess you could do it side to side, but vertically. So you have the home page at the top. Underneath that, you might have children's photography, pet photography, event photography. Underneath event photography, you might have birthday party photography and engagement party, different types of event photography, but you'd want to have it underneath engagement photography. And that starts to build up your authority for engagement photography.
Yeah. But the engagement photography would be under wedding photography.
Well, I'm talking about just your website here.
Oh,
just
my
your
website.
Site.
Okay.
Yeah. So using your site as an example.
Let's say that all over again, because that made no sense.
Okay. So let's say you have underneath your homepage, you have your types of photography. You've got children and families, you've got pets, and you've got events.
Yes.
But technically you offer like birthday party photography, and you might order, I don't know, some other type of event photography. You would want to put those types of event photography underneath the event photography page.
All right.
Does that make sense? Because that is going to start to build authority for Google for the term event photography. So Google will look at that family tree and they'll say, oh, look at all the stuff that she has underneath event photography. She must put a considerable amount of effort or content towards event photography. So that starts to build up your authority. So think about how you could nest these things, your different types of photography underneath each other. If that's possible. It might be that they just are not. And then once you have thought about that, think about doing things like underneath, let's say your event photography, you have a prices page for just event photography. You have a FAQ for just your events. You have testimonials for just your events. The more content that you can put around just your events, the better that you'll rank for those.
Oh, okay.
And you would do the same thing if you have, say underneath family, you have children and pets and
births,
maternity and newborn and all that stuff. Yes.
Right.
So think about that. Otherwise, it really shouldn't be a problem. Those things are all pretty closely related. I mean, they're all photography, which is most important.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I hope that helped.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
So the thing that I wanted to talk about is I wanted to give you some advice about how you can actually start building links, because I know I've mentioned how important links are.
And I have no idea what they like. Oh, yeah, please. Walk through.
I will. This is and I'll always talk about links because they're just so important. And I'll probably always throw out, different types of analogies and stuff just to help it make sense conceptually, because intuitively it doesn't make sense. I get that.
Right. I can understand, like Spider-Man, you want to connect to somebody else and get power from all that stuff. But I don't know really like how you get a link.
Yeah.
I've even asked people like, oh yeah, sure, just link me. And I just hope that they know what it means. That's what I've been told what to do.
Well, think about, if you just think about the internet.
Yes.
I'm going to try and explain this a different, I'll probably continue to explain this in different ways, because once this makes sense conceptually, it's going to it'll free up your thinking a lot, because it's not difficult, but it's not something that's kind of natural. You're going to know just naturally. So think about the internet. The internet works because it's a bunch of computers connected to each other. That's literally what the internet is. That's all it is. If computers were not connected to each other, there'd be no internet.
Right.
Well, websites are the same way. They're files that are placed on that network of machines that are connected. So what would the internet be if there were no links, if there were no connections between websites? How would you use it?
Right. It would be like throwing up paper in the air.
Yeah. The only way you could ever get to a website would be you'd know the actual name of the website and you type it in.
Yeah.
Now maybe that's how you get to Google, but then from there, I bet that you're always just clicking on links.
Right.
It starts from Google, but everything is just links.
Right.
So without linking, there's no internet. So the more links that you have, it's just the better it's going to be. The more visibility you're going to have.
The more portals through which people can find you?
Kind of.
Okay.
But really, the importance of building links is so that Google sees all these links, because you want to rank well in Google. And if Google looks at your site and it sees that you've got 50,000 other websites linking to yours, Google's going to see like, wow, that must be a good site.
Right.
If you have one website linking to yours, Google's going to be like, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look like a good website. Another way you could think about it is SEO is basically answering two questions for Google. What's your website about and how good is it?
Oh, wow.
So what's your website about? That's pretty easy for you to do. Those are the words you put on your page. It's how you explain your website on the actual website. How good is it? Google determines are other websites linking to it? So it's all just like, I think in the one of the first episodes, we talked about the popularity contest and getting votes from other websites. So that's all. That's what it is. So you wanted to show to Google, look, everybody thinks that that they like my website. Lots of people link to it. Not because you're actually going to get a lot of traffic from those individual links. Now you might, and you might not. That's not necessarily the goal of building links for SEO purposes.
Okay.
So now that all said,
so the goal is
to build links.
Right.
Now there are different types of links also. So one thing that I'm sure you've probably already done, you're going to make sure that all of your own social media profiles and platforms and your LinkedIn all link back to your website. Obviously.
Yeah. Right.
So you control those links. So definitely do that. That's you've probably done that already.
Yes, that's one thing I have.
Yeah. Beyond that, you're going to have to start to look to other websites to link to yours. Now, even within there's lots of different ways that sites can link to you. You got your websites like Yelp and City Search and Yellow Pages and things like that. Then you've got sites like media sites like the New York Times or Time Out New York or things like that. Those would be much more difficult to get.
Right. Right.
So one of the first things that you want to do is you want to start to grab those the local links, the local citations, because I don't know if when you do a search, you know how Google often, especially if it's any sort of local search, there's a map. So you get a few listings, usually ads, then you get a map, and there's 3 listings underneath that map. That's the local pack. And one factor that goes into local pack, yeah.
Okay. What does that mean? Oh, you're going to tell me.
It's just the local pack. It's I don't know why they call it the local pack. It's just it's the pack of 3 websites that are in that local module with the map section.
Okay.
So that's the local pack. So you want to get in there because that's pretty good.
How do you get in there?
Yeah. So one factor, I mean, there's multiple factors, but one is Google is going to look to see that your website is listed in all the local business directories in that area. So if you're a local business, as a photographer, I assume you definitely are. You need to go through and you need to show Google, yes, I am in all the local directories. So think of it like the old Yellow Pages. If you're in the Yellow Pages, the super Yellow Pages, the Yellow Book. Google checks all these things, and they're like, yeah, this business seems legit. Their address is the same.
Right.
Their business name is the same. Their phone number is the same.
Right.
It's all same. It's all got business hours. This looks like a legit business. So that's step number 1 to getting into that local pack.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to build these what we call local citations. I don't know why they call them citations. They're just
seriously.
They're
it's a little frightening.
It's SEO jargon. I don't know why they come up with all these fancy
weirdos.
words. So there are different ways you can do that. You can do it manually. You can go around, and there's hundreds of these local types of directories, especially for like bigger cities. You can go around and do this manually, which is an absolute nightmare.
Oh, okay. I won't even ask questions about that.
It takes forever.
Okay.
It takes so long. It takes, because for every one of these sites, like say like Yelp.
Yeah.
And Yelp is probably the most well-known one, but there's a whole bunch of others. For every one, you got to set up an account, set up a profile, get your business verified, do all these steps for every single one. It takes months and months and months and months, and you're never going to do it right. So,
and then if you do any activity on Yelp, they start calling you like 25 times an hour.
Yeah. Their business model is different than most of these sites. But so anyway, there are services that have popped up to help you get these listings.
Oh, okay.
So you may have heard of Yext. Yext is probably one of the oldest and one of the most well-known ones. And so what Yext does is
like next, but with a Y.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
You have a sweatshirt at home that says Yext on it. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh, no, I've never. I'm just looking at your face, baby.
Oh, thank you. I have a funny story about Yext. Maybe I'll save that for later. Anyway, so what Yext does is you go to Yext, you set up an account on Yext, you fill in all your business information, and then it goes out and it claims all these local listings for you. I think it claims like 50 or 60 of them. And you just pay Yext one time. You just set up one account.
Is it expensive?
I'll get to that. That's what I have done for years. And they charge per business, I think it's like $500 or $600 a year.
Okay.
And it's a monthly subscription.
Right.
You pay annually. So I don't know why they call it monthly really, but and so that's what I've done for all my clients. Now, the only problem with that is number one, you're kind of tied in, you're paying that forever.
Okay.
And when you stop, your business listings may disappear off of all
that was my next question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you got to keep paying monthly. And so, I went and I set that up for my client. That's the way I did it for years. And that was really the only option that I knew of. But, a kind of nagging feeling is that's not really the best way to do it. Like anyway, what has popped up in the last few years are services that will do that, but they will set up account for you and they will give you ownership and they will just charge you one time and they will give everything to you.
Really?
Now, that's the ideal. That's what I would think you want to do. Some of these services are a lot more expensive.
Right.
But there are a couple that are not.
Oh.
There's one called WhiteSpark, which I highly recommend. It's called WhiteSpark. WhiteSpark.
It's Spark, like the sparkles you have.
Not sparkles, just Spark.
But just like one
spark plug.
Oh, okay.
Or sparkles.
Sparkles.
Man talk would be spark plug, and female talk would be
sparkles.
There you go.
Singular.
Yes. So what they do.
We're gonna get comments being like, "No, I can say spark plug," which is true.
Okay, so let's forget all of that. Let's just call it WhiteSpark. I'll put WhiteSpark in the resources section of meredithshusband.com.
Okay.
And I'll link to everything. There are some of their services. They have a bunch of different services. You go to their website, you'll see they got a bunch of different packages. There are some you don't need. Mm-hmm. There's one or two in particular I highly recommend. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain that in the resources section.
Okay.
If I will say just right now, if your business if you've changed address, if you've changed your phone number, if you've done things like that, you're going to need a little bit extra because then you're going to have duplicate listings and your information may not match. And so that can be harming your rankings.
Right.
So you need to make sure that you clean those up.
Right. Would this be, for example, if you move your business to a different state, would this be a good way to do that cleanly where you can?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it would. What happens more often is that you just move to a new office. Businesses will move an office. They'll move down the street or to a different neighborhood or whatever. And that, cleaning that up all across the web can be tricky and it's important. So what WhiteSpark does is they're a Canadian company. They're really very cheap.
Wow.
I think the package that you probably need to get is like, it's probably I think it's $350 or $360 one-time fee.
One time.
So it's cheaper than a single year of Yext.
Yeah.
You get pretty much all the same listings, and then you get ownership. And then, see, one of the benefits of Yext is that you can go in and just update your information. It will update across all of these platforms within like 24 hours. Mm-hmm. That's one benefit. But with WhiteSpark in particular, if you have an update, they will do it for like half price.
Oh,
so if you do this, I don't know what the discount is, but it's a substantial discount off the normal price. So if you pay to do this once, and then let's say 2 years from now you move and you change your address, you just go back to WhiteSpark and you say, I have a new address, and they will do everything for like half price. They'll clean up all your, because they will still have access, the access that they created for you. So will you. You can also go in and you can manually change all these. But like I said, if you value your time at all, it's not worth it.
Right. Okay, cool.
So that's what I do now for my clients. When we do this, I no longer do Yext. I feel like that's kind of a waste of money. Mm-hmm. I set this up, get all their listings. There's a pretty good markup on this, to be honest. If I pay $150 for client listings or something, or $350, I would 10x it to the client, because it's really very, very valuable, and they have it forever.
Wow.
So that's what you need to do. And their support is really good. Once you sign up for this, they will get back to you and kind of walk you through the process. It takes some time because, like I said, this if you were to do this on your own, this would take a long time. Right. It still takes them time, but the reason they can do it so cheaply, I think, is because they have set up a process, sort of production line, if you will.
Well, this is what they specialize in. Okay. Yeah.
And cool. So they'll reach out. It'll take some time, but they'll walk you through it, and then you just need to wait.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
And that's about and that's the links that you were talking about.
That's not all linked. That is one of the first things you want to do.
Okay.
When you start building links.
Okay.
It's not very difficult. It's kind of the foundation of your link building. Right. It's I guess it's step number 2 after you make sure your own profiles and your own accounts link back to your website. Any link you can control, do that.
Via social media.
Via LinkedIn, whatever it is.
Right.
Link back to your own site when you can from any other property you own. Then you want to branch out and you want to lay this foundation of we're in all the yellow pages available.
Right. Awesome. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Then we'll get into the additional types of link building at some point.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. See you at dinner.
Okay.
Love you.
Sounds good. Love you too.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. We really hope that you find this helpful and useful. And if you do, what you could do for us as a thanks would be to, drumroll please, yes, leave a review. Yes, everybody says it, I know, but it really does make a difference. Take 3 seconds, leave as many stars, say something really nice about what you like about the podcast and maybe why other people would like it. It would mean the world to us, especially my husband. That better? All right, I'm going to try one where I'm not going to be charming.